자캅 소소는 저거 들이 자야카라 저거 주로 근데는 뭐 참아나 다시 데렉션 들이 소소 나발이 매일 지가리 지가리 물을 못해 쌈좀 잡아야지 담조도 이제 나들이 사와트 정도 물을 못해 탐나 이제 주인공이 물을 못해 되는 로가를 줬거든요 체파도 막 날리래 체파도 바빠더니 물을 못해 쏘면 날리를 못해 쏜 거요 말이 그때 그래서 탐지 같아 물을 못해 짜치 뭐니 자 이제 주인공이래
So all the Dharma friends from the various countries and centers around the world, Dashi Delek. Today is my birthday of when the day I was born in this world, in the human world. And the human body is really inconceivably precious. And because of that, having found this precious body of freedoms and advantages that is difficult to find, we have to engage in meaningful activity. So having obtained a precious human body, we have to remember that. So on a birthday, we remember the precious human body that I have. And the precious human body is superior in the 6 realms of samsara, even superior to the body of a god. Because it is never said that like a noble god birth or something like that. We speak about the noble or precious birth of a human body. And so therefore everyone should today remember that, remember how precious this human body is.
首先呢，各位在全世界各个中心的法友，你们好，吉祥如意。今天呢是我的生日，是我出生在人间的日子。那人的身体呢是无比珍贵的，那所以当我们今天拥有了这个暇满的人生，它是很难得的。那因此呢，我们要谨记这一点。这样的一个暇满的人生呢，是在6道当中最殊胜的，它甚至比天人的身体更为珍贵。那因为呢，并没有说暇满的天人身，而是我们说人生暇满。所以各位呢，请记得这一点。
통고를 되라 산지시바도 처리했지 호화시바는 자우롱을 해야 돼 대다와 성문종들이 대회들이 다서다 샘대 오늘 사직을 줘봐 대다와 토마 드린 것은 사직을 까리 대물지 대물이 내려고 그래 상문에 내 사직에 숨고 찍고야 한 말이 좋다가 제발야 한 말이 오 샘광을 아주 대상지에 돼 대토론 지고 했지 이제 지수 송아서 말이 동문해야 돼 했지
So, now having obtained the precious human body, in order for this body to become, this existence of a human to become meaningful, I have the motivation. I think I must accomplish the benefit and happiness of others and also oneself. And who actually recognized that the human body is so precious among the 6 classes of beings? The Buddha himself had said that the precious human body is so precious because it is through this human body that you can attain the state of enlightenment. And it is said that the attainment of the state of enlightenment, for this reason, is because it is so difficult and requires a human body. It is so rare. The human body is so rare. And it's only through the human body that you can attain the state of enlightenment. And so that is also because in a universe, a Buddha doesn't always appear. A Buddha appears sometimes. So right now, that's why people think that, so now in this aeon, the Buddha Shakyamuni has appeared. And so now, thinking in this way, one thinks, a Buddha's appearance is so rare. But actually, even though that's how we commonly see it, it's not really like that. Because the Buddha himself said, all sentient beings are actually Buddhas. And that is because all sentient beings possess the cause of Buddhahood. So all sentient beings are actually Buddhas. They are only obscured by adventitious stains. And so the Buddha had attained the state of awakening because he realized the true nature of the mind. So the Buddha, in order to realize the nature of the mind, gathered the accumulations for 3 endless aeons. So first, in the beginning, actually, he cultivated Bodhichitta, and he realized that in order to realize the nature of the mind, I must cultivate Bodhichitta, the mind generation. So then he cultivated Bodhichitta, and through that attained enlightenment. So therefore, it is also said that it is through the force of Bodhichitta that one finds the actual, authentic truth, the natural state of the mind. So therefore, if the mind never separates from compassion, it is like the ocean never separates from warmth. And when it is warm, then no ice blocks can form in it. So within the mind, our self-grasping is like an ice block. And so it is due to self-grasping that the 6 realms of samsara have appeared. And even though there are different traditions or lineages, there's one important quote by Jigten Sumgön from his collected works where he says that what the Buddha taught, so the teachings only show the fundamental nature of all phenomena, the natural state of all phenomena. And the natural state of mind is bliss. And because the mind has lost its autonomy, has become controlled by afflictions, we experience suffering. So the fundamental nature of all phenomena, the nature is taught. So what this means is also that there is no separate Buddha, but it is the natural state of your mind. So that means once your mind has become completely pure, that is what we call Buddha. And for as long as the mind is like defiled, polluted water, it has the nature of suffering. So the natural state of all phenomena is taught also means that primordially the mind is by nature Buddha. This is how it is taught in Dzogchen. So this natural state of mind is Buddha. And whoever has a mind, once there is mind, there is this nature of Buddha. It is just that we don't see it right now. We cannot see it. And so for this reason, because we cannot see the mind, it is like the water has become polluted. And we cannot recognize the natural state. So when bodhicitta doesn't arise within our mind, then we cannot see the natural state. So in brief, what it comes down to is ignorance. It comes down to ignorance and not seeing one's true nature. And so once we cultivate the mind of bodhicitta, then the mind cannot no longer turn into an ice block, freeze into an ice block. And for as long as we don't recognize that, the mind will remain in an ice block-like state and will not melt. And for as long as it doesn't melt, the mind cannot attain freedom. This is what we call Buddhahood. It is like an ocean water, and samsara is like an ice block. So just remember this. And so everyone has a mind, and therefore they have the cause of awakening. And first, it is important for us to recognize, to see that this is the actual word of the Buddha, that you have this natural state. The Buddha is within yourself. And it's not just something that the Buddha himself had said, and also it doesn't matter which lineage or tradition one follows. It is just how things are in their natural state. Basically, the natural state or Buddhahood is, in Tibetan, it is sang ye. So sang is to clear way, and ye is to become vast. And so sang means that we have to clear away this ignorance. For as long as we don't clear that away, the natural state cannot become vast. So if there is no clearing away, there cannot be vastness. And so once you've cleared away all ignorance in your mind, then the natural state as it is what we call Buddha. And this is what you should keep in mind. And so this is what the Buddha himself had said, and also this is what Lord Jigten Sumgön said. And it's not just something that they said, but it really actually represents, it expresses how reality really is.
那所以我们说，这个人生是稀有难得的。那了悟这一点的是谁呢？是佛。佛说，佛说呢，为了要证得稀有的佛果，我们必须要通过下满的人生。所以呢，人生它是非常的珍贵的。那但是呢，虽然这样说，实际上
，there is a quote by Jamgon Kongtrul from the calling the Guru from afar. And that is a prayer that is widely renowned throughout the Kagyu lineage, and most can understand it. So it says there that if you if you waste your precious human body of freedom and advantage in meaningless ways and not to attain liberation, it is like coming to an island of jewels and leaving empty-handed. So what's important to understand is this last sentence, this jewel, coming to a jewel island. So what is that jewel? The jewel is bodhicitta. And now, having obtained a precious human body, we have an ability to recognize bodhicitta. And so therefore to not leave empty-handed from the jewel island, which is like the human birth, we have to cultivate bodhicitta. So this jewel island is like this human existence, and we must not waste it and leave empty-handed without bodhicitta. So this last line in this prayer is important.
那所以当我们拥有了这个暇满人生，我们需要让这个人生呢具意来修持。那佛证的心的本性，它是通过三大的阿僧祇劫来修持的，而他修持一开始的时候呢，就是通过发菩提心，也因为有菩提心，所以最后呢，他可以证悟成佛，证得心的本性。那虽然我们说在这个世间当中呢，在这个宇宙世界当中，佛不是一直出现的，它只是有的时候呢才会出世。我们现在所处的时间呢，是佛现世出世的时间，那因此它是非常的稀有。那但是虽然这样说，但是其实一切的众生都是佛都具有佛性，这是佛所说的。那但是因为众生被他心中的烦恼所染污，那因此呢，他没有办法见得自心的本性。而佛呢，通过菩提心的修持，通过菩提心的力量，证得实相，也就是心的本性。所以这证的心的本性呢，就像是海跟热力不分，因此呢，海它永远不会结冰。那但是对于我们来说呢，凡夫来说，我们的心就如冰块一般。那也因为心是结冰的，跟热分离，因此呢，我们头转在六道当中。那在尽管有很多的传承，那但是呢，所说的都是一样的。而在我们的十子天颂供，他所说，佛法它的本质呢，就是佛要指出一切现象、一切法的自然本质。那这样的自然的本质，也就是心的本质。心的本质就是大乐。那但是众生因为心中的烦恼，因此呢，他们感到痛苦。但是实际上呢，佛并不是独立的在外的，佛跟心是不分的。那但是因为心中有烦恼，我们还是会感到痛苦。所以佛即自心，那这样的心的本质是大乐，这也是大圆满的教法。那一切的众生，只要他有心，那么他就有佛性，他就有证悟的，他就有证悟的机会。那现在我们没有办法见得心的本质，这是因为就像是我们这海水被污染了，因此见不到心的本质。那也是因为我们不具备菩提心，所以无法见到心的本质。
Also it is said that all Dharma, the 84,000 Dharma teachings, are included within Bodhicitta. So there are limitless sentient beings appearing in limitless aeons, and for all these beings, the Buddha taught an antidote for each of them. So there are many afflictive emotions, so there are many antidotes. Jigten Somgön also said that the 84,000 teachings are taught as an antidote to the afflictive emotions. So, in brief, how many afflictive emotions are there? There are 6 main afflictive emotions, and they all arise from self-grasping. There is not a single afflictive emotion that doesn't arise from the self-cherishing mind. So why do the afflictions arise? Because there is a self. I want to be happy, I want to be well. We all have that just naturally, it's there because of our body, because we cherish our body. And so that is what we call attachment. And anything that opposes this, anything that threatens our happiness causes anger or resentment to arise within us. For example, when the weather is very hot, then we feel resentful towards the heat. And when it gets very cold, we feel resentful towards the cold. So it starts with this resentment, and out of that then develop the other 6 afflictive emotions, which are the natural projection or kind of manifestation of the self-grasping mind. And so then when we look at this me, this self, whether or not it exists, actually we cannot find it. It doesn't actually exist. When one realizes the nature of the mind, one realizes that self and other are not separate, do not exist. And in this way, one also realizes that attachment and aversion do not inherently exist. So then one sees the ultimate truth. So the Buddha saw the ultimate truth, and the Buddha therefore taught the 2 truths, the relative and the ultimate. On the relative level, the Buddha taught that on this level, love and compassion first has to arise in our mind stream. So in the beginning, we have to recognize the qualities of bodhicitta. And then once we have recognized it, we have to meditate, we have to habituate it over and over again, reflect upon it, increase it, hold on to it. And the practices to hold on to bodhicitta are the 6 paramitas. The 6 paramitas are the path that the Buddha taught. All of the Buddha's words are included within the 6 paramitas. And the 6 paramitas themselves are included within the mind of love. So we practice the 6 paramitas in order to sustain our love. So it's all for the purpose of love. And for example, it is like love or bodhicitta is like lion's milk, the milk of a lion. So a lion is actually an animal, and generally it doesn't have many great qualities, but among the different wild animals, the lion it kind of outshines all the other animals. So it's the strongest of all the animals. And for this reason, the lion doesn't have to be afraid of any other animal. So therefore, the lion is like a symbol of fearlessness. Fearlessness in this life, future lives, and the bardo. Others are afraid, but the lion doesn't have to be afraid. So now the Buddha, for instance, or somebody who has bodhicitta, then has no fear of samsara, the 3 lower realms, is not afraid of anything at all. So just like a lion. And the lion's milk is bodhicitta, or love and compassion. And then you also need a vessel to fill the milk in, that contains the milk. And it is said that the lion's milk must be contained by a golden vase, a golden vessel. So the lion's milk is an example of bodhicitta. And then once one attains, through bodhicitta, one attains the state of enlightenment, one becomes Vajradhara, which Vajradhara means that one transcends birth and death, arising and decline, and becomes fearless. And so we have said that there is the milk that needs to be contained in a vessel, a golden vessel. And the golden vessel is symbolic of patience. So we need to have patience. So what's the quality of gold? The quality of gold is that you can't break it or damage it. And for example, if you have a golden necklace or chain, it might be kind of broken apart. But you can, even though that happens, it can also be fixed again. So it has this quality of, even though it may break, it can also be fixed. So bodhicitta is the lion's milk, and the golden vase that contains the milk, so that must contain or sustain the milk, is great patience.
那所以佛说，佛就在我们自心当中这就是实相。佛呢，并不是在我们身体之外的。那所以佛的在藏语呢是桑戒，桑的意思是净除，而戒呢就是广大。所以净除的是烦恼，当烦恼得到净除之后，心就会变得广大。障碍我们心变得广大的就是烦恼。那因此呢，烦恼去除，我们才能证得心的本质。那有一张贡康卓仁波切第一世的张贡康卓仁波切呢，他有说过一句话，就是当我们拥有暇满人生，但是却不做具体的修持的时候呢，就像是去了宝山而空手而归一般。所以这个宝呢，宝山的宝就是菩提心。那佛说了一切的法，那这些法呢，它都是可以说都是包含在菩提心当中这84000的法，而在无量劫当中所出现的一切的佛，他所给予的法呢，都是要对治我们的烦恼，也就是这84000种烦恼，它的对治的法门。那这84000的烦恼当中，可以分成6根本烦恼。这些烦恼它都是从我执所生的。那因为有我需要快乐，那因此呢，任何障碍我们得到快乐的，我们都会产生烦恼，所以这就是我执。那障碍我们得到快乐的，我们会升起嗔心。那比如是当天气变热了，我们会讨厌这热的天气；那变冷了，我们会讨厌这个寒冷。这就是我执的一种自然的化现。那因为有了我执，有了我执产生的烦恼，因此我们找不到、见不到自心的本质，也找不到也没有办法证悟没有办法证悟佛果。那这样的一个我执我，当你去寻找我的时候，你去观察，你是找不到的。那当你去认知到这一点，然后进一步了悟到自他不分的，那这个时候你就会证悟到圣义谛或者是究竟的真理。那佛了悟到这一点，因此他说了二谛，二谛是世俗谛和圣义谛。在世俗谛当中，佛说的慈悲心的教法，而慈悲心，所以我们修持首先要升起慈悲心。
So as we mentioned in the previous quote, that we should not spend our life in meaningless activities. And so it's not that all of our activities, our mundane activities, are meaningless actually. But what that really means is, it's not that the activities themselves, but it is the state of mind that we are in. So what we need to recognize is that love is the cause of bodhicitta. So even if one engages in mundane, samsaric activities of this life, still, whatever one does with body and speech that comes from a mind of love is called the cause of merit. And so if you recognize that, then you will sustain love in whatever you do with body, speech, and mind. And in this way, you will bring benefit to others naturally. And in this way, you will accumulate merit. When you accomplish the benefit of others, you accumulate the merit to obtain a precious human body. And also now we have brought that continuum from previous lives. So we are now precious human bodies. And basically whatever you do, even if whether it's a Dharma activity or a mundane activity, if you do it with love, even just the slightest thing you do to benefit somebody else, it all becomes a cause of merit. And we just have to accumulate it. So the cause of merit is already inherent within us, and then the condition is actually our kind, or a very kind mother who has given us this precious human body. And the love between a mother and her child is very natural. Even animals love their mothers, love their child. So the child loves their mother, and the mother feels great affection for her child. So that is that love that we first need to identify. However, nowadays there are a few people who say that I don't love my mother. And in that case, there must be someone else that you love. For example, if you love your cat or your dog, then take that love and recognize it. Identify this love. It is that love that will become bodhicitta. So today, when we receive the Bodhisattva vow, we have to recognize love in our own mind. And that is just like finding gold. For example, gold actually is in some or one or the other way contained in all the rocks, all the stones. And of all the different rocks, gold is considered very precious, but actually what people don't see is that it's not this one solid thing, but it's actually everywhere. When you see the sun shining on rocks, and sometimes it just like flickers, and you see the gold is like it's kind of spread all over. So you have to gather it. You don't have this like solid piece of gold without gathering it first. So the sun is shining, and it glimmers, and you can see there's actually the gold is all over the place. And so similarly, actually, love pervades the mind, but we have to gather it, we have to collect it and make this piece of gold out of it. And so for that, we first have to recognize love. We have to identify this love in our mind. And then we have to gather it from all over to make this piece of gold, which then becomes bodhicitta in your own mind. So some people may think that I don't have gold, I don't have that, but actually it is everywhere, all pervasive. Then the way, for example, jewels are made is that like a lot of gold pieces, like particles, are gathered, and then jewelry is made out of it. So first of all, we need to recognize that it's that feeling of love that is the cause of merit, when love arises and you act with body and speech. And then once you have recognized it, you have to increase this love, make it become stronger and stronger. The Buddha's love is very strong, very powerful. And we also have love, but our love is very small. It is often just limited to our companions, our friends, and so on. But what we need to recognize it is the same kind of material, the same things, the same essence. Our love and the Buddha's love essentially are the same thing. It is just there's a difference in subtlety, or one has more, one has less. So once you understand that, you will know how to collect and bring together all these small flakes of gold and make a piece of gold out of it, which is then like bodhicitta. So therefore, when we take the Bodhisattva vow, we have to recognize the quality of love, the quality of bodhicitta, and then we must know how to develop it and how to sustain it, so that it eventually becomes this kind of lump of gold, which we then call bodhicitta. And so that is the purpose of taking the Bodhisattva vow today. And so the Bodhisattva vow is a skillful means, a method to kind of condense or bring together love, condensing love within one's mind stream so that it becomes bodhicitta, like a piece of gold. And some, so when you look around, then, for example, looking for gold, you can see it everywhere. Wherever you see some here, you see some there, even some in the water and so on. So in the end, you basically collect all the gold and make a nice piece, have a nice piece of gold in the end. So which is just like collecting love, recognizing love, collecting love, and developing it into bodhicitta. So it is this quality of love that will bring you ultimately to the state of enlightenment. And so all beings have that to some degree. So, but then it is not strong enough. So for this reason, all the beings suffer. The beings in the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm do not transcend suffering. And it is the Buddha's love pervades all of these realms. So that is what we call boundless love. As love, that moment of love when it becomes vast or boundless or immeasurable, turns into the four immeasurables. So that is the Buddha's love. Our love, we have it, but it is very weak at the moment. But what we need to recognize is that it is one and the same thing. Like gold is gold. It is just we have less and the Buddhas have more of it. So today when you receive the Bodhisattva vow, you should think that today I must recognize love and I must sustain love. I must hold on to love.
那所以当我们拥有菩提心，然后修持把它增长的时候呢，坠悟达到正悟，也就是达到像金刚种持的境界。那金刚种持它的境界呢，就是超越生死，这样有无量的慈悲心的这样的一种正悟的状态。那仁波切也是。把菩提心呢做了有一个比喻有一种说法，他说菩提心它就像是狮子，它的狮子的一般来说狮子作为动物，它并没有什么特别的功德，但是狮子在动物当中它是最强的，那因此呢，它没有任何的恐惧，因为那所以菩提心就像是狮子一般，它是无所畏惧的。那代表这里的无畏是在今生来生，在中阴当中都是无所畏惧的。那所以菩提心这样的一种就如狮子的奶一般，但是我们自身需要一个容器来装住这样的菩提心的甘露。那这样的我们自身要变成一个黄金的宝瓶。这里的比喻呢，黄金代表的就像菩提心一般的珍贵。那但是就像是黄金做成的珠宝一般，它是很容易被损毁的。那尽管它是会被损毁，但是呢，我们也可以修复它。那所以而这样的一个黄金的容器呢，也就是安忍。那所以我们要修持菩提心，要保持菩提心，我们需要安忍，才可以把菩提心，才能守护菩提心。那之前我们有提到，如果拥有暇满的人生，但是不具意的来修持的话，就像是浪费了人生。那所以这里说的无意义的行为，并不是指我们在世俗的一般的修持，而是呢在我们行为的时候的心。 那如果我们的心当中有了慈悲心，它就有种下菩提的因。那在平常我们一切的身语意的所行，如果具有菩提心的话，它自然呢就会种下功德的因。当我们的利他的时候，那自然也是种下了得到暇满人生的因。那因为过去这样做，所以现在我们拥有了暇满的人生。那因此，在这世间当中，不管你要做佛法的修持，还是世间的行为，我们要带着慈心来做。当你具备了这种慈心的话呢，你所做的一切就是种得功德的因，而这个缘呢，就是我们母亲所给予的身体。那这样的母子之间的爱呢，它是自然的。
What is this feeling of love? That is what you need to recognize. For example, you love your dog, you love your cat. Recognize this love. And that it is that love that needs to be developed. And if you have love for many, it becomes bodhicitta. In the end, when you have love for all, you attain Buddhahood. And so it is the love. It is through love that we separate from self-grasping. And no, actually all practices are a method for separating from self-grasping. And so if you cultivate a little bit of love, self-grasping will go away. So that once that you've recognized this principle, then with this knowledge you must enter the practice of the 6 paramitas. And you might think that, oh, that's really difficult. But actually it's not that difficult, because actually the 6 paramitas are present everywhere, naturally, in this world, in all of our mundane activities. For example, when a mother cares for her child, she really practices the paramitas. For example, the mother cares for, gives for a child, gives anything to her child without holding back, which is generosity. And the mother doesn't harm her child, which is ethical discipline. And she endures many hardships with patience, and that is patience. Generosity, ethical discipline, and patience are the 3 causes of birth in the 3 higher realms. And they are present in our mind. They can be practiced just naturally in whatever we do. So therefore, the nature of love are the 6 paramitas. So the essence of the 6 paramitas is love. When there is love, you will practice the 6 paramitas naturally. But in a mundane sense, we mostly lack the paramita of wisdom. So we really possess the 5 paramitas. And so paramita means not to reach the furthest limit, to completely perfect. Like the Buddha had attained complete perfection of all these qualities. And even though we have not reached complete perfection, still in whatever we do in the world, when there is love, we do practice generosity, ethical discipline, and patience. So recognize that, and recognize that this is the cause of merit that we speak about. Then actually it becomes quite easy. So first recognize how precious love is. And then there's another quote by Milarepa where he gave a brief teaching on the 6 paramitas. And so he said that without holding back, without stinginess or greed, and attachment, practice generosity. And then it is ethical discipline that makes this precious human body of freedoms and advantages, which is so difficult to find, meaningful. And then he said, the root of the lower realms is hatred. Therefore, practice patience even at the cost of your life. And actually this is what's most important for us when we take the Bodhisattva vow. We have to identify, first of all, our anger, and then have to practice patience when anger arises. It is also said that the roots of virtue accumulated in aeons are destroyed by a single moment of hatred. So what is this roots of virtue that we speak about? Or what we call virtue in general? That is something that we all should understand. What virtue is love. It's nothing else but love. Once you have love, you have the cause for happiness, or the temporary benefit and the ultimate happiness. And birth in the higher realms as a precious human being arises from love. So love becomes the cause for that. And love serves as the cause for ultimately attaining enlightenment. That is the state where there is no more self-grasping, and you realize the inseparability of self and others. That is what we call a Buddhahood. So then Milarepa continues, and then giving up laziness, the obstruction, the hindrance to liberation, practice diligently. That's diligence. So with diligence, with mindfulness, you do not become controlled by the afflictive emotions, and that actually all you find the essence of all these paramitas also in the 37 Bodhisattva practices. And then he continues, free yourself from the being caught up in the entanglement of confusion or delusion, and meditate single-pointedly. That is the paramita of meditative concentration or meditation. So it is the practices of shamatha and vipassana. First, the mind comes to a calmly abiding, a tranquil state, and then you gain insight into the nature of the mind, which is vipassana. And then, so these are the first 5 paramitas, but then ultimately, in order to attain enlightenment, the essence really is the 6th paramita. And so then Milarepa said, do not search for the Buddha elsewhere, but recognize the Buddha to be your own mind, present in your own mind. So this is how, in brief, we practice the 6 perfections to remedy the 6 afflictive emotions. And so when you have realized that, when you've realized the nature of bodhicitta, you cultivate love, you practice the 6 paramitas, the 6 afflictions, transform, then your mind becomes completely pure and you see the natural state. There's another quote by Chamgyön Kongtrul where he said that I have not recognized my own mind to be Buddha. I have not seen my thoughts to be Dharmakaya. I haven't been confident in the natural state, the uncontrived natural state of my mind. So these 3 words are also important. And so in any case, in the context of the Bodhisattva vow, we have to identify the preciousness of love. And if you just practice that and nothing else, it is actually sufficient. So, for example, even when you engage in mundane samsaric activities, in this way you are merging, you're mingling your practice with your activities. And if you only have that, it is actually sufficient. If you only have that, you will naturally practice the 6 paramitas. So recognizing this, therefore, when you take the Bodhisattva vow, you should think to yourself that at this time I must, from now on, I must hold on to this. I must hold on to love. I must hold on to bodhicitta. So what I'm sharing with you is from my own personal experience.
所以一切的母子之间，他的爱是很自然的。所以你要找出心当中对母亲的那一份爱，这样的一种爱心、慈心，把它放大变成菩提心。那有的人 他可能不爱自己的母亲，那么你可以找到你所爱的人，比如是你的宠物猫狗等等，认出这种爱，然后呢把它变成扩大，变成菩提心。那其实我们受持菩萨戒，也就是要认出、找出自心当中的爱。那这样的爱呢，就像是黄金一般。那有一个比喻就是像金子就藏在石头石堆当中。那但是呢，有的时候我们可能找不到，但是当阳光照射到石头上，它反射，你就会发现其实金子它是变蓝的。那因此呢，你要把金子收集成，它就会变成一个大的金子堆。那所以同样的爱也是我们要找到心当中的爱，然后把这样的心，把这样的一种爱呢，以及让它变成菩提心。那所以一切众生都是具有爱心的，不管是人还是众生，畜生，所以一切的爱呢，它是遍满宇宙的。那我们要让我们说我们要把菩提心装在黄金的宝瓶当中，这样的一个黄金的宝瓶，也就是修持我们的安忍。总之呢，我们是要认出爱保持爱，让它增长，然后最后呢变成让它扩大，变成菩提心。那佛的爱呢，它是广大的慈悲心，它是无量的。我们众生的心，我们的众生心当中的爱呢，它是少的。那也因为爱是少，所以呢，我们感受到痛苦。但是佛的爱跟众生的爱本质上是一样的，只是大小不同，本质上是一样的。所以当我们认知到心当中的爱，让它扩大变成菩提心后，通过修持，最后会证得佛果。那证得佛果呢，也就是证悟的我。所证得佛果的时候呢，也就是心当中的这种慈悲心，让我们我执分离。一切的佛法呢，也是为了教导我们跟我执分离。那所以要知道这一点，你所修的就是六度波罗蜜。那这样的一种六度波罗蜜呢，它也是爱的修持。那可以说是从慈悲心当中，佛说出了六度波罗蜜的教法，所以六度波罗蜜它就是包含在这个慈悲心当中。那所以我们通过在六度波罗蜜的修持，修持布施、持戒还有安忍，这三种的波罗蜜呢，是种下了我们暇满人生的因。我们说，其实在世间当中的一切的众生呢，他都是有具备这六种波罗蜜的修持的。那因为他们的心当中都有爱，都有慈悲心。那但是因为在世俗的层面来说，我们缺少了智慧。那因此呢，实际上我们只是具备五种的波罗蜜，而佛他那我们说缺少的这种般若智慧呢，它所指的是佛陀这种圆满的正悟，圆满的他具备一切的功德，一切的智慧。弥勒日巴尊者呢，他有说过关于六度波罗蜜的修持，在布施的时候呢，我们要放下一切的吝啬，一切的执着的心来修持布施，然后 我们要进行持戒的这样的修持，然后我们要认出嗔心呢，它是下三道投生到下三道的它的一个根本。那因为这样呢，我们要修持安忍来对治嗔心。那所以我们可以说是三界的一切有情，它的痛苦呢，都是从嗔心而来的，因此我们要具备这种安忍。
So today during the Bodhisattva Vow, so you should recognize that in the quality of Bodhicitta, and then in order to practice Bodhicitta, it is taught that we should practice the 6 paramitas. And there are no separate 6 paramitas aside from whatever one does. So even when you look into the world, whatever one does in samsara, in this world, can become a cause of merit. Actually, there is so much opportunity to accumulate merit all over the place. It is just that we don't identify these. So actually, there are many ways to accumulate merit. For example, a very limited or small example is the way a mother cares for her child. She also practices the 6 paramita, maybe sparing wisdom to be the 5 paramitas. But the paramitas can be practiced. And in a more larger sense, in a more larger scale, for example, when I'm looking at a factory and I think about how they benefit the world, or when I look at a school, how do they benefit the world, how does the school benefit the world, or when I imagine how would it be if everyone who works at that factory or school had a good heart, that would be it would be wonderful. So it's just the way you see things wherever you go. You just have to change the way you look at things, really. And actually, when you see it in a more pure way, then actually anything can become a way to gather, to accumulate more and more love. So it becomes bodhicitta. So this is how I myself think, for example, when I look at a factory or a school and so on. So it doesn't really depend, our experience, our mental experience doesn't really depend on any material circumstances, but it really depends on how we see things, how we look at things. And so therefore, how we should reflect is that I must cultivate bodhicitta. That's the most important thing. And then in order to cultivate it, you reflect on its qualities. Why is it so important? It is because I want to benefit others. And how does it benefit others? How does bodhicitta and love benefit others? So we reflect in that way, and then when we come into a circumstance where we can benefit others, then we benefit others with great joy and delight, recognizing the quality of bodhicitta. And so then when we engage in practice, we always say that the basis of practice is to take the refuge and the mind's generation of bodhicitta. And that is because in the beginning we have to transform our perspective, the way we look at things. So first we take refuge. We take refuge because the Buddha was the only one who knew the right method to become free from suffering. So he is our first refuge. And the Buddha taught the path, the Dharma. And in essence, the Dharma is to cultivate and to sustain love and compassion. That is the path the kind Buddha had laid out for us. So when you see it in this way, then you recognize actually the Dharma is within my own mind, because the Dharma is love and compassion. If you just have that in your mind, if you have love, it is sufficient, because you have that's when you have the Dharma. So in terms of the 3 jewels giving you up, actually, if they only give you up when you give up love, when you give them up. So then naturally they leave you. But as long as you do not give up bodhicitta, then the Buddha and the Dharma are within your mind. And then there is the Sangha. And so who is the Sangha? What is the Sangha? So when you have love, then you are a good person. Then you think, I'm a good person. I don't harm others. I help others. If you think in this way, you are a real Sangha. Then you realize, actually, the three jewels are within me. And it is my own mind and nothing else that must attain enlightenment. And the natural state of my own mind is Buddha. So when you understand this, then trust arises in that. And then whatever you do in all your mundane activities, if you change your perspective, then anything that you do can become an accumulation of merit. And so you do what you can. So basically you think that I will do my best. Whatever you can do, you will do. And if you can't do something, then you can dedicate for sentient beings and rejoice in others' virtue. So that's also a special, skillful method. And also in that is explained in the 37 Bodhisattva practices, which I have given to many people. So it explains many different ways of accumulating the cause of merit. So there are so many ways to accumulate merit, but we often waste these opportunities. And how do we waste them? It is because we get angry and we get jealous. And we get angry and get jealous because we are selfish. So for example, if you own a company, a factory, for example, and you think that through this company I want to get rich, then because of that selfish motivation, anger and jealousy will arise eventually. But on the other hand, you could also think that I have this company and I want to use it to benefit the world, to benefit people. For example, you can think about the great benefits that are brought to people through things like airplanes or cars or trains and so on. And so with that motivation, then you actually accomplish the benefit of others. Jigten Sumgön had also said, everything that's done in the field of knowable things is done by Buddha. So this field of knowable things is the world. Whatever you do is done by Buddha, because whatever you do is done by this aspect of intelligence, which is actually your wisdom. So therefore, everything that's done with intelligence is really done by Buddha, because that is your inner Buddha. It's your wisdom or intelligence. And this actually also connects to the view of Vajrayana, which is a pure view. And so, for example, I myself, when you have this view, when you understand all of this, then I myself feel that whoever I meet, for example, a practitioner of any religion, I feel that this is Sangha, this is a Bodhisattva. So try to develop such a pure perspective, because this really is the foundation of the Vajrayana view. And the Buddha then also had said that, according to the Vajrayana view, all appearances are seen as deity, and all sounds are heard as mantra. So that is essentially the Vajrayana view. And then wherever I go, I just see deities, I just see bodhisattvas. And everyone becomes my friend. And so this is how we change our perspective if we hold on to love, to bodhicitta. So that's why this is so important. So you should think that ultimately I must attain the state of enlightenment. And so that's your motivation. And therefore you cultivate love and you accumulate merit in any way. So for example, when you do something good, then also to kind of safeguard the good that you have done, you should dedicate whatever virtue you create. Dedicating our merit is similar to putting your money in the bank. When your money is safely in the bank, it won't be like destroyed. It will actually, maybe you gain some interest and it increases. So dedication is just like that. Dedication is extremely important. And actually, whatever merit you create, it should always have three parts to it. That is, you first take refuge, then you cultivate bodhicitta, and in the end, you also dedicate. These three are very important. And if you have that, then whatever you do in the world, in your mundane activities, all can become really an inconceivable cause of great merit. So that is if you think in this way. And so when you reflect on that and think that, no, I must practice in this way because this is the result. Therefore, I must never give up my love. Now I have found love. I must never give it up. Even at the cost of my life, I will not give up my love, my bodhicitta. Also in the 37 Bodhisattva practices, it says, even though you have not done the slightest thing wrong, even if someone cuts off your head, when you have not done the slightest thing wrong, take up the others' negativity, their evil deeds with great compassion, or taking up their evil with great compassion is the Bodhisattva's practice. So when somebody harms you and you recognize this point, you will think that, oh, this harm happens, this is because of karma from the past. So you wouldn't get angry at the other person, but you would look beyond this life and see that there is nothing more important than not losing your bodhicitta. And that is because it is the only cause of all happiness in this life and in all future lifetimes. And you must always sustain it. So you think that not just in this life, but in all lifetimes, from lifetime to lifetime, I must by all means not lose my love. And ultimately, if you sustain it, it will become the cause of awakening. So until I have attained awakening, I will not allow my love, my bodhicitta, to become spoiled. The body is not so important. The body is just like a house. It's not who you really are. So even if someone were to come to kill you, you wouldn't think about someone is killing me or my body. You would think that even if I'm killed, by all means, I must never lose my love, my bodhicitta. I must sustain it. And this is what the Buddha had done when he accumulated merit throughout 3 endless aeons. He held on relentlessly, and the way he held on to love is with patience. So with great patient endurance, he finally attained enlightenment. And so again, enlightenment means in Tibetan Sangye, and so or Changchup. And so Sang means to a clear way to purify all self-grasping. And once self-grasping is completely cleared away, then the empty mind becomes vast. So then emptiness and compassion become merged, and compassion pervades everywhere. So that is what we call the state of enlightenment. So you should think that this is what I need to attain by all means. In order to attain that, I must not lose my love. And you start small. You start with those people around you, like your children and your spouses, your husband and wife and so on, even your cat or your dog, whoever surrounds you. And then you gradually expand this love, so it reaches everyone in this world, and then finally until it reaches all sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara. And so then ultimately when it becomes vast, you realize that actually your own mind is not separate from all sentient beings. You realize that self and other are actually inseparable. That is when you realize the ultimate truth. So therefore, recognize that. Recognize that once I have cultivated this state of this vast state of emptiness and compassion, my mind will pervade all sentient beings. So this is what we call the ultimate bodhicitta. And until you have realized the ultimate bodhicitta, you must cultivate the relative bodhicitta, which is love. To cultivate love, increase love, and to sustain your love with patience. That's extremely important. And that is the one thing to remember in the Bodhisattva Vow. And so the Bodhisattva Vow really is a method. There's many methods, but this vow is also a method for us to hold on to grasp and to hold on to bodhicitta.
14世산지사와 제에는 소소한 그 셈을 쳤다.
的修持，用安忍我们修安忍来对治之之后呢，是通过安忍，也让我们保持心当中的爱，也因为有心当中的这种慈爱之心，我们就种下正悟之因，最终能证得无我，证得自他无分别。我们要继续修持，要放下懒惰，那因此要精进的修持，然后保持正念，最后。
Everything that's done in the field of noble things is done by Buddha. So look at your mind, and when you look with wisdom, you cultivate compassion. So you're merging, you're looking with wisdom, and with wisdom you develop compassion. And then if you have wisdom and compassion, so if you're viewing your wisdom connects to compassion, then whatever you do with body and speech will become an activity of Buddha. So whatever is done in the field of noble things is done by Buddha. Then your nature, then everything is pervaded. All like the essential nature of all becomes pervaded by wisdom and compassion. So keep that in mind and recognize that. Recognize that in this way, I become a Sangha. So this is what you should recognize when taking the Bodhisattva Vow. So before that, first please take a rest for 15 minutes, and after that I will offer you the Bodhisattva Vow.
那大家各位休息15分钟，然后仁波切会给予菩萨戒。
무슨 샘 산티는 통고요래 누구도 가봐도 말아오래 기어 말해 저도 통고요래.
And I'm so happy to see all of your faces, Dharma friends. Now we see each other truly, because the way we see each other today is what we really are. Now we really see each other, because what we see is we see with the love we have in our minds for each other. That's how we see each other today. The body is not important. The body is just like an empty house. So what we see today is the real seeing of one another.
所以仁波切说很高兴见到对方。
And I see everyone is spinning the prayer wheels. Thank you.
所以仁波切也看到各位用转经轮，他也很高兴。 那仁波切说呢，他跟大家见面呢，身体并不重要，那重要的是他的爱心见到你们的爱心，所以这是最重要的，这是最殊胜的。然后回到之前仁波切讲到的灭日巴提到的六度波罗蜜的修持的部分。 关于精进，那就是要放下我们的懒惰，来精进的进行修持。然后呢，要保持我们的正念不被烦恼所控。那这一点也是在37颂佛子行当中有提到的。然后为了去除我们心当中的迷惑，我们要进行禅修止观的修持。 那让心平静，让心变得平静，那这就是止的修持。然后呢，当心安定下来，我们去观心的本质，这就是观，所以这是止观的禅修。那然后通过这样的修持，最后证悟的至佛呢？ 它并不佛心与我们的心不分离我心即是佛，那这就是六度波罗蜜的修持，这个般若的智慧。那所以这样的六度波罗蜜的修持，它对治的是六根本烦恼。那所以整个六度波罗蜜的修持呢，就是从升起菩提心开始修持。 然后最后呢转化心当中的烦恼，最后证得见得心的本质。所以我们一般的所以现在我们休息15分钟，然后之后呢直播会继续，就仁波切会回来给予大家菩萨戒。那继续之前仁波切的讲到的部分。那所以我们一般的人他们具的人身呢有暇满的人身是修六度波罗蜜当中的布施、精进跟布施、精进还有持戒。布施持戒还有安忍来得到人身的因。然后但是世间的众生呢缺少智慧，所以他只有5度波罗蜜的修持。然后当我们圆满了佛的智慧之后呢得到了这个般若波罗蜜，这就具备了6度波罗蜜的修持。而整个慈悲心6度波罗蜜的修持呢，就是我们要修持我们的从爱修持修持我们的菩提心。所以仁波切提到的这佛所说的佛法呢，它都包含在2谛当中，也就是世俗谛跟圣义谛。那在世俗谛当中的修持呢，我们要跟我们在世间的行为要结合，也就是我们所做的一切要带着佛法的修持，要把它融合。那这样呢，我们就等于是把所做的一切都变成6度波罗蜜的修持。那要能够做到这一点呢，我们必须要持戒。那持戒呢，也就是保持心当中的慈悲心。那当我们拥有慈悲心，那这样它会转化增长成为菩提心。那所以持戒它就是帮助我们可以最后证悟佛果的功德，能够证悟自心的本质。那所以带着持戒来修持6度波罗蜜，那让我们的行为跟6波罗蜜不分离。那所以如果你能够带着这样的一种心来行一切事的话，那么你所做的一切就会种下功德的因，而且是很多的机会的。那而且这样的我们说的爱心慈爱之心呢，它是遍布一切的，就像是一切的母亲照顾儿子女儿，他也是在修持6度波罗蜜。也许他是缺乏了智慧，那可能他实际上只有修持5度的波罗蜜。那但是不管怎么样呢，他们都是一切的众生呢，都是具备爱心、具备慈爱之心的。那因此呢我们要了悟这一点。然后而且呢我们要转变我们新的看法。在这世界上面，你看，如果你所在的地方不管你看这是一座工厂还是一间学校，那他们其实都是在利益社会的。那如果在里面工作的人他的心是善的，那就变得非常的美好。那所以这一切世间的一切其实都是我们自心的观点，我们的看法。那当我们的心变得清净的时候，那么我们就能够让这个菩提心升起。首先从清净当中会升起慈悲心，然后慈悲心呢变成菩提心。那所以我们的心实际上它并不是依赖着物质的，而是依据我们自心的当中的见地、自心的看法。那所以我们要思维这一点，要转变自己的心，转变自己的观点、自己的见地。那所以这样的一个就是菩萨道的一个修持。那也就是我们要去利益众生，要利他， 而且利他的时候要带着一种欢喜的心来利益众生。那而当我们要修持我们的心，我们要通过皈依跟发菩提心。那首先是皈依，那皈依是为了要转变我们的自心，转变我们的见地。那所以皈依当中，首先皈依的是佛宝。那因为佛要悟了去苦之道，去苦之法。那接着呢是法道，佛说出了佛法修持法门的道方法，让我们可以证悟心的本质。而佛的法道呢说为了让我们证悟心的本质，佛教导我们要保持心当中的慈悲心。那所以这是法道。然后当你自心当中具备了菩提心的时候，当你具备了这种慈爱的心，那么你自己也变成生宝。那所以只要你心中有爱，就是菩提，就有菩提心，那么佛法就会跟你不分离。那当你在自心当中拥有了这种拥有了慈悲心、菩提心，那么你跟佛不分离。那这个时候你的心呢就会自然的升起信心，你所行的一切都会变成是功德。那所以我们这样的来皈依，然后尽我们最大的力量来修持，然后我们所做的一切要做回向，而回向呢也是一种佛说的方便修持的法门。那这在37颂佛子行当中有提到的。那但是更多的时候我们并没有真正的修持佛法，而是浪费了我们的人生。那为什么我们会浪费了这些修持的机会呢？这是因为自心当中的嗔心和嫉妒。为什么会嗔心嫉妒？是因为自私，因为我执。那比如说当你去建立一间公司的时候，如果带的动机是为了让自己变得富有，而从这样的动机当中，它自然的就会化现出以后让你会产生这种嗔心跟嫉妒等等。那但是如果你去开一间公司，但是你的目的是为了利益他人，比如是做车子或者是房子来方便别人的话，那么他就会保护你不会升起这种以后的嗔心跟嫉妒等等。而我们要保持心当中的静观，也就是让我们见的一切的人，他们都是生宝的化现。那这样的一种静观呢，它也是金刚乘的见地。那吉天颂公他有提到说，世间一切的高贵的行为或者是利他的行为呢，都是佛所行的。这是为什么呢？因为一切的众生心当中都有智慧，都有慈悲心。当行为它是从慈悲心跟智慧所做出来的，其实它也就是佛的心所造出了，佛的心所做的。因此呢，慈悲心跟智慧呢，它就是佛。那总之呢，我们要保持心当中的爱，首先是认出爱。那认出我们从心当中的这个小的爱心出发，如是对我们的母亲、对我们的猫狗的爱，然后认出这种爱，把它放大，然后呢，慢慢的让这个爱呢遍满全世界所有的人，然后再把它变大，遍满世界一切的众生，让它这样的一种慈悲心变得广大。那到最后你会了悟证悟到自心与众生的心无分别，那这个时候你就证悟了佛的圣义谛。所以首先我们要认知这一点。 那所以通过这样的一种认知，我们开始修行，也就是了悟到心呢，它是实际上是遍满一切的众生的。那当我们在证悟到圣义谛之前，我们要修持世俗谛。那世俗谛的修持呢，就是修持我们的慈悲心。那所以今天我们来领受菩萨戒呢，它也是我们佛所说的修持的一种方法。那所以之前这是仁波切给予的开示。那休息15分钟之后呢，仁波切会再给予给各位菩萨戒。
等于他上周怎么多嘛，我都把的那的他阿克罗达把讲的多嘛，他上周什么多嘛的，他把培养可以的呢，就是说有有的这里物质的里，说东西全部用中康呢，这把干呢，你没见他就拉去这个别东西全部有的，这里讲的多嘛，这里来就得哈过的。中康东西这个，大那个的话，大概有的上的被什么几波的那个，也看了空中没吧？这那个的，中康他们写的的，我们这些什么来就这些什么，中康的东西没吧？差不多的，这边呢，这里打上用什么罗马这个是这罗马哪怕上这个马东的马东。实際的電話で電話じゃた電話じゃてそうでsamtidig jo går det samtidig tilbake til å gjøre gjøre saje jobla dicho mer saje jobla tapcha saje jobla 상원 만나봐 좀 되게나 사실 좀 뭐 탑대 가서 지와 요래 그 나기지 라나 들이 거서 배 가고 싶어요 들이대가 이치 요래 명 요래 사람들이 수족 다 잡기도 봐가 쪽성 들이 담보물을 보자 톱성 들이 빠졌다 너희 탐지에서 강에 탐지 자서 내가 소팅 뒤에 쪽서 대상적인 잡기도 봐야겠지 내가 다톡 네 앞에 게도 내가 그 좁고 탐지라 다 잡기도 말이라 들이 산쪽에서 말을 떼더니 니 마치시 때리지 니 이제 문제는 그 제와요 와탐지 내가 되게요
所以各位吉祥如意，各位圣宝们，我们开始菩萨给予菩萨戒。首先菩萨戒跟菩提心的重要之处是什么呢？为什么每年要给予呢？因为我有个人的经验，因为在过去我受到了很多的痛苦，我在监牢当中，当时很多的人都在监牢当中受了很多的苦，很多人都自杀了。那但是因为通过皈依戒，我了知了业力，所以我认知到在监狱当中去除我的恶业，因此呢，我在监狱当中很快乐，我没有对国家升起嗔心，所以任何的人在监狱当中，如果你了知业力，你不会真的受苦，你不会，你能够净除你的恶业。而菩提心戒是佛法的精髓。虽然我们经常说愿一切众生离苦得乐，即具离苦得乐的因。如果你有了菩提心，那就足够，就能够证悟。 如果缺乏了菩提心，就无法证悟菩提心，就无法证悟菩提，因为佛果跟菩提心是不分离的。我爱各位，然后各位也爱我，因此你们喜欢听我的说话，而且对我所说的话有信心。那这是因为我从自身的经验当中来，我了知保护我的就是我的皈依戒。现在我们有了圆满人生，然后之后呢，我们经历很多痛苦，但是皈依戒呢，帮我去除了一切的痛苦。我的生命当中都类似的从皈依戒当中皈依来保护了我。而菩萨戒，它有众多的利益，不管是暂时还是就近，它都有很大的意义。如果我能够给予菩萨戒跟皈依戒给对方，给你们，这是最棒的。所以我把它赠予给所有的众生。
Oh, in English? Yeah, okay. So, may the entire surface of the earth become a pure land, free from barren land, even like a level palm and
普愿十方地，无力无荆棘，平坦如掌书，柔软是琉璃。
Protector of all sentient beings without exception,
一切众生之护主，摧毁一切魔军队，便知无余胜利者，皆同眷属其降临。
I offer you these pleasant and white lotus
等同
flowers as extensive
3000大世界，百变莲花聚莲蕊，宽广舒适华座供，祈请如意安乐住。所有礼赞供养福，请佛住世转法轮，随喜忏悔诸善根，回向众生及佛道。落叶我皆来
切达瓦切中特蒙特瓦耶去见过罗过的走。
Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the greater and lesser vehicles and the teachings common to both according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
서거들이 산족집이 걔는 공지바담들이 주간 나가는 찻들이 롱게 찍게들이 요거요래 여다들이 자기라 반동요면서 딱벌 사지 통적이 찻들이 가서 집지담들 스케요래지 이런 무슨 내가 로르지만 다다 사지 요리 다다 사지 소마 다다 요 말이 내가 무슨 그 요리지 말이 사지 세드냐데 시작다 로리 사지 딱벌 요래지.
Now think that in the space
那么观想
in front of you
在面前虚
is
空中
our teacher, the Buddha,
是我们
Shakyamuni,
的
surrounded
导
by
师
all
佛
the
陀
Buddhas of the three times.
围绕着是
So
三世
now
诸佛
saying that you should think that or imagine
然
that.
后我们这样
Actually,
的
it's not
观
just
想
an imagination,
这不是
but
一
the
种观
Buddhas
想而
are
已
always really actually present,
而是它真
always
的就
around
在
us. They are
我们
ever
面前
present.
而且是
The Buddha
恒常
himself
的
had
就在
said,
与我们
whoever brings to
同在
mind the Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, I will always be there with them,
所以
and
佛
my
说
blessings will always be present.
只要你心中
So
意念
whoever
它
gives
它就
rise
会与你
to
同在
Bodhichitta will
所以
naturally connect to the
只要
Buddhas
你
that
心
are
中有
ever
菩提
present,
心
because their
你就永远
Dharma,
会
Kaya,
跟
mind
佛
pervade
相
all
连
of space, and
因为
therefore the
佛的
Sambhava
法身
Kayas
是遍满一切
appear
的
instantaneously.
佛的
So the
报身是自
actual
然
Buddha
所生
never comes and never goes.
佛
The
无
Buddha's
来
mind
无
is
去
always all
佛
pervasive.
心
So
是
therefore the Buddhas always
遍及一
look
切
upon
处
us, they see us sentient beings. But now temporarily, due to our
那在
obscurations,
只
our
是暂
temporary
时的我们
obscurations,
被
we don't see them,
心
and
中的
therefore
障碍
we think
烦恼
that
也无
now
法
they're
见到
here,
佛菩萨
but when we don't supplicate the Buddhas, then they're not here.
所以
But
我
that's
们不要
actually
想
not the case
我
at
们
all,
祈请
because
佛才在不祈
ultimately
请他
the
就不
Buddha
在了
is actually
而
always
是
present
究竟
together
层面来
with
说
your own wisdom in your
佛
own mind.
是跟我们的心跟心中的智慧是同在的
And then think that you are first taking refuge in their presence.
然后想
And
着你
the
就在
refuge
佛
that
菩
we
萨面
must
前领
give
受
rise
皈
to
依
now is the Mahayana refuge.
而且给予的是大乘的皈依戒
Then in English, I take refuge In the three
殊胜
jewels,
三宝我皈
I
依，
confess
不善
all
罪
misdeeds
业皆忏
and
悔，
non-virtues. I rejoice
众
in the
生
virtues
善业
of all
皆随
beings
喜，
and hold the Buddha's
持
awakening
守诸佛菩提心，
until attaining awakening. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme
诸
Assembly
佛正法
in
圣
order to
贤
fully
生，
accomplish
直至菩
the
提
purpose
我皈依，
of others and myself.
圣成自
I
他
give rise to
恶利
Bodhichitta,
故，升
having
起
given rise
正
to
觉菩提
the
心，
mind of supreme awakening.
以此殊胜
I
菩
welcome
提
all
之
sentient
发心，
beings
严
I will
请
engage
所有众生
in the
为
supreme
上宾，
Bodhisattva conduct
随喜殊
that is
胜
pleasing to
菩
all.
提萨埵行，
May I attain Buddhahood
为利众
for the
生，
benefit of all
愿
beings.
证佛果位。
그러니까 저 산초 중초 영제 바제서 잡고줘 봐서 나 산초 정리데 제제서 잡고줘 몰란데리 네 다다면서 저 페이지를 몇지 째와요나 제 류마 이도 사와 탐지 이동 네베나 내가 소차 탐지라 나 탐지라 이 사삼제요 당선이나 이 탐지 카도아 이도요 꽤 이동 이 내라서 봐 이 이동은 남는 산쪽에서 산제로 이 이동은 따뜻히 차리어리 대선 말에
We just said this one line here.
所以
So
我
I
们
will
念诵
engage
的
in the
其中
supreme
一句
Bodhisattva conduct that is pleasing to all.
随
So
喜
this supreme Bodhisattva
殊
conduct
胜
is the excellent conduct
菩提萨埵
of
行。
Bodhicitta, which is
这里讲
actually
到的
explained
菩
extensively
提
in
萨埵
the
行，
prayer for excellent conduct as well. And for example, when two
在普
friends
贤
and
行愿品当中有
companions
提到，
love one another, when there is love,
当我
then
们
whatever they
拥有
do
了
with
慈爱
body,
之心，
speech, and mind,
我们
all
身口意一切
activities
所做
become pleasing to all. They
都
please
成
all.
为是
And
让
also
一切
in the
众生
animal
欢
realm,
喜
for
所行。
example, there
例
are
如在
differences. When an animal even
诸
just
生
has a
界
little
当
bit
中，
love
如果
and
动物
less
它拥有一点点的爱
aggression,
心，
then that
那么
animal
它就会
appears
少一
with a
点的
more
侵略
beautiful
性，
voice and color
那它
that
的
is pleasing to
声
all.
音也
And
很
that
悦
is
耳，它
because
的颜色
there is
色
love
相
within
也是
their
让别
minds.
人
So
欢
that
喜
is。what is being said
那只
here.
是因为他心当中具有这样的一种慈爱之心。
다들이 무슨 거바디는 가이나들이 저땅 장도 sem지가 거나 탐지들이 만난 과정에 sem지 탐지에 송구요리 이제 뒤송고게 도망 많이 봐 아니들이 나와서 자지 산초서 bet자서 조거나 가리 세상의 인보래 근데 저 세상의 문제는 세상의 가리를 설런도들 라고 다 치통 속기서 우리가 나를 자들이 자들랑 이게 세상 때요래 코 말가가 말이 나고 차연 거요래 대외를 집에 세상 되고 때문에 세상 문제 사용 말 세상은 세상 요래 다 세상 무슨 깨스랑 강아 세상랑 못되고 될 집에 세상 돼 문제로 세상 시바도 되리 내가 하고든지 세상 될 때니 제만을 배송을 적진 가면요 이 송자와 세상이 서로 받아서 세상 되게 다 랑게 상태 소태로 세상이 살아 상태는 대해서는 다 자티 가르쳐를 잘해야 양마랑나 저 핀다 빈주 핀치보다 이들 파트리로 가자 다다 가시나 파마를 보고 종종 덮어야 보자 이들이 아치리 보고 파마를 듣고 다 파마도 고소랑 셔로 그래 이 열니 보지 파마도 고소랑서는 파마도 라마 기기대라서 고소형 이 열니 보지 하자니 가지고 대토지 고소랑 민저 대토를 대소로 결정을 대래 그랬다 랑이 지양 문제 좋다지 다 잘줘야 대다 자탑지 양이라게 리차 보는 게 문제 돼서 아까도 봐 무시 이 배우들이 매직이 쳤나 들이 매직라 빨라 지요리 빨라 되게들이 다디 버디 게 피고 이 서로 습지미 습지 마치라 다른 거 버들 망광이 피고 어디 돼 볼라다디 거기 야치를 지어라는 거래 랑게 야치보 야초보지 지어라 이 마티가 빠티 노제 삼지 사로 산들이 될 답고 잡선나제디 마티 고쳐게 지어라는 거래 야뭐 그런 거 벌뭉쳐 보제 와사도 요디 이 벌뭉때 마티 이베디 셔서 그가 벌뭉때 마서 산 레거게 내랑게 거기 총을 뽑을 째래 뽑을 때 빵랑 파야도 세세 디샤도 사 마쳐들이 머리야 때디 이 거기서 야 파샤 사실 말아 담야다고 빵라니 코레도 시발로 또 코레도 레게도 코도 요리 너무 자충아 베티스타브리 베타다르 당 자tum이 기양 저런 게 진짜 들리로 관리하지 잡지 데레 따티 다닝이 바베 바레 산 들다다 다시 달라마티 시당 문제다 자치 보리 조박도 요리 들다다 라리 소디만 나송거리 시당 끼어면 조박을 설고 좀 이제 토마 자들 사람도 되게 시당 된지 시당도 사죠 세베들이 자들 예다는 하정 진치 보리 설다 탐지 자 탐지 시당을 차로 그래 나자 같이 보리 이제 아까만 빠게까지 문남지 뭐라는데 야는 그래
Magitiva kare langsung. Magitiva. Barit parva. Chi. Annie something knows. So then when we come to the actual like how to reflect when we take the Bodhisattva vow and we cultivate
当
Bodhichitta.
我们领受菩萨戒修菩提心的时候，要怎么样思维呢？首先，
First, when we take refuge,
我们要领受皈依戒，要做皈依，然后发菩提心。
do in the beginning is they say
然后在最初，
so all mother sentient beings, limitless
我
space
们
and
会
so
说一
forth.
切遍虚空如母众生等。
prayer by Lord Jigten
吉田
Songren
松共他有一部出生的祈请
all
文，
those beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors,
他
harm
有
me,
说
and
到
so
与
forth.
我生嗔之怨敌，害我之魔障等
very
等，
special,
这是
and,
很特殊的祈请文，出生的祈请文。
when we cultivate bodhicitta,
当
when
我
we
们
take refuge and cultivate bodhicitta,
修
the
持
purpose
菩提心的
actually
时
is
候
it， has to become an antidote to
它的目的
anger.
是
And that's why
要让它
Jigten
变
Songren
成嗔心
reversed
的
it
对
this
峙
way. Because in the
那所以
beginning
吉
we
田
first
松
we
共
have
这
to
样的来撰
recognize
写，
our own anger.
因为一开
Where is
始
this
我们
anger?
要
Who has it?
认
How is
出
our anger?
我们的嗔
So
心
we all
是
have
谁
it
有
to
嗔心
different
要把它
degrees,
找
large
出
and
来。
small.
管
Whether we are beings with a body or
我
beings
们
without a body.
众生是大是小，
Naturally, we have this enemy
身
that
形
we
的
don't
多
like, that
大，
we
我
hate.
们都会
We
有
think that,
自
oh,
己
he
的
doesn't
怨
like
敌、
me. So
仇
then
敌。
you feel
你觉得
resentful
他不喜欢
toward
我
them.
因此
So
呢
it's，that
你抗拒
anger
他
that we don't，
你不喜
usually
欢他，所以
it's that anger that we usually don't recognize.
我们经常
And
没有认
so
出
actually,
自己的嗔
it
心
is。always present. It is present within our
但实
mind.
际上呢，在我们的心当中
Think
一直
about
都
someone.
存
Now
在的。
meditate on someone that you feel angry at.
所以
So
我们
normal people
禅修，我们说
justifying. We might see
讨
our
厌的
anger,
人，
and we think that of
恨的
course I'm
人，
angry because of this and that.
那我们可能会
But
想，我当然
no,
会
we
恨他，
first of
因为
all
他
we
做了
go
这
through
些
the
事情
reflection.
等
But
等。
first think of a person.
但是首
Bring
先，
to mind a person
你
that
把这样的一个
you
人
dislike.
陷于
You
你的
don't
心
like that
当
person,
中，
you're angry. So
把你
bring
讨
that
厌的、
person to
不喜
mind
欢的
now,
人，
and then
把
first of
它
all
出现在你的
identify
心
the anger,
当
see
心
this
当中
anger.
然后你去
So then
认
see,
知
this is what we call
这种嗔心
anger or hatred. And
这
so,
种感觉，
so once you
这
have
就是
recognized that,
嗔心。
and then we come back to Milarepa's
当你
word.
认知
He
这
said
一点，
that
然后回到
the
密勒日
root
巴的
of the three lower
话当
realms
中，
is hatred, anger. Therefore, practice
你
patience
下
even at
三
the
道
cost
的
of your life.
根就是
It is
嗔心。
anger anger is what
因为
disconnects you from the life force of liberation.
嗔心让我们与解脱的力量
Cuts
分
you
离，
off from love
让
in
我
that
们与爱
moment.
分离。
And
当嗔心升起的当
so,
下，
therefore, also, Milarepa had said that
它让我们分离。
when
所以
anger
所以
is
密勒日巴
present,
说，
then
当
love
嗔
cannot
心
be
出
there.
现了，
And when love is
爱
present,
就不
then
会
anger
出
cannot
现。
be there.
当爱出现了，
So
嗔心
bring
就
to
会
mind this
消失。
person that you dislike. So let's call him an enemy. So whoever
所
is
以
your enemy, why are they your enemy?
让你
It's
的仇
because
敌
in the
出现，
previous life,
然后为什
they
么他
have
会
been
让你成为
extremely
你的
kind
仇
to
敌呢？
you,
这是因为
and
在
you
过去
have
当中
failed
中，
to repay
他
their
对你很
kindness.
慈
And
悲，
so therefore this
但
kind
是
of
呢，你并没有
corrupted
回报他，
relationships began.
所以你们的关
And
系
for example,
被损
that
坏了。
happens when, for example, when parents raise their
就
children,
像是
and
父母
then after the
把小
children
孩
grown
养
up,
大
the children treat the parents
但是
really
呢，
badly.
儿女
So
并
then
没
the
有好
parents
好的
get
善待
angry,
自己的
and
父
then they
母，
die with
那
an
所以
angry
父母
mind.
呢
And so then
很
as a
生
result of
气，
that, in the
他
next
死的
life
时
they
候也
become
带着
our
嗔心而
enemies.
走。
Now in the
那
Dharma
下
we
一世
speak
呢，
about
就变成你的
very
仇敌。
crucial kind of objects, basically recipients of our anger. And these crucial objects are,
所
for
以这
example,
样的
our
我们的一种
parents,
嗔心的
our
对境，
teachers and gurus and so on. So to
其实都是我
get
们
angry
的
at them
父母、
is an
老师
extremely
等等，
dangerous
所
actually.
以对他
So
们嗔
therefore
心
remember
是
that
很
and
危
think that
险
I
的。
must not get angry.
因此，了知
So
这一点，
it
我
is
们必须
because of a past
谨记不能
life
够起嗔
connection.
心。
A
这都
great,
是
a
因为
very
我们的
dear friend
各
has
种
turned into an enemy.
与
And so
各种
therefore
亲友
this
的连接，
enemy is
而他
your
们最后
karmic
变成了
creditor
我们
coming
的
to
仇敌。
collect their karmic
那这
debt.
是因为
Now there's this
业
story
力的
about
关系，它成为我们现在的冤亲债主。
Anyways, there was this yogi with a clairvoyant power, and he came to a family, and so the father
所以有一个故
of,
事，
so the father of that family, the father, mother, and the
一个
child. And
家
so,
庭
so before
父
he
亲
came to
跟
the
儿
family, so what
子
he saw when he came to the family
在
is the history of that family.
有位上师
What
投
he
生
saw
之
is
前的
that
看到，
there was this father who had a
他有
child,
一个
and
父亲
he
跟
wanted
儿
to
子，
benefit the child. The child turns out good
他
in the future.
为了
But then the
要
father
利益
also
他的儿
didn't
子，然后儿子变得很好，
cultivate a mind of Bodhichitta.
但
So
是
he just made prayers for his son in the future. So then the father died, and the father was born
他
as
修
the
菩提心，
family's yak.
然后
And quite a
他为
kind
儿
of
子
a,
发了祈愿等等，但是
like a
后来
kind of
转生成为
say,
家里的
like a-
牛的牦牛，
like not a little bit kind of rough, let's say, a rough mannered yak. Let's put it like that.
就是比
And
较
so, then the mother, she when
脾气比
so
较暴躁
when
的
the
这样的一
mother
种
was alive,
牛。
she also thought about her son, but she more thought that in the future he should turn out good so that I can get all of his wealth. So that's why she raised him really well. And so then the mother died, and the mother was born
他
as
的
the
母
family's
亲
dog. And so then
他的母
that's
亲
what
也
the
是希望
yogi
儿子好，
saw
因
when he
为
came into the family.
然后
And
他
so
死了就可以变
then he
成
saw that
他拿到他的
samsara
财产
is
等等，后来就转生
so
成他的
laughable,
狗。
actually. There you have the
那所以
child
轮回
and
其
I
实
guess has
是
an enemy of the family too. So the child, the
很
son
可
is
笑的。
holding their enemy on their lap. And so then there was this enemy of the family, which he also saw, which was somebody that the family didn't repay their debt with. And so then that enemy, well, it was an enemy of the family, but when that enemy died, that enemy was born as the son of the son.
因为经常呢，我们的家人就是过去的仇敌所转世的，你的敌人可能就出生成你的儿子、女儿等等。
He said, "Samsara is laughable."
所以有位上师说，轮回是很可笑的，因为你在吃的父亲的肉，
and beating the mother who was the dog.
然后你再
打
打的这个狗呢，就是你的母亲，然后抱在怀中的就是你过去的仇敌。
Actually, the activities of samsara are nauseating, so turn away from the activities of samsara.
所以轮回它是 让你是虚幻的，让你眩晕的。
come into existence. There are those beings with whom
所以仇敌
we
的
have a karmic debt
存在，
owing,
就是因
and we
为
have not repaid their
跟我们
kindness
有
properly in
业
the
债的
past.
业缘关
And
系，在过
also
去
enemies and friends
我
are
们没有
uncertain.
还清的。
It changes, and that is what we should recognize when the anger comes up in our mind.
所以
And then
了知这一
also
点呢，
recognize that
当
actually
嗔
the
心升
anger
起，我
or
们
the
要
enemy
认出
is
它。
actually very like a precious friend.
然后，其实
Because
我们的
we
仇
need
敌
an
也是
enemy
我
to
们
be
宝贵的
angry at
朋
in
友，
order to practice patience.
因为有了仇敌，我们才
According to
可
the
以修
37
持安
practices,
忍。
it's also said, if you have
所以在
no one that
37
makes you
种佛子
angry,
行当
then
中
how
说
would you ever cultivate
如果
patience?
没
You
有
need
仇
those
敌
that
对
make you
境，
angry. So
我们
therefore, they
怎么
are
样能够
actually
来
very
修持安
precious,
忍
like
呢？
a precious friend. So
所以
this way,
这样
first
来说，它就
recognize
像是
your
我们的
anger,
善柔一
and
般。
then at the person, and then recognize this person actually as a very
所以
kind
当
friend,
你
because you need
对某
them
人
in order to
生
practice
气，要
patience. If
认
you have
出他
nobody
其实
to
是你的
practice
善柔，
to get angry at, you can't practice
因
patience.
为无有
So
他的
that's
存在，你就无
extremely,
法
very,
修
very
持对
important.
境，没
And
无
for
法
this
修持
reason,
安忍，没有
also
安忍的
the
对境。
Karmapa and the Karmakayu
所以在 伽马噶
he
举的
actually
祈愿
put
当
this
中，
prayer, or those
伽马
enemies who hate
巴
me and
也
so on,
把
he put that
这
in
一
the
部
very
不
beginning
共
of
的
the
祈请文
Mandalam prayer
放
book,
在了
recognizing
噶举
how
祈愿
precious
法
it
会
is.
当中之前做这个祈请。
到了东西北大，那把西北给他巴掌，他们前边把对举把西吧，他们这就做西北，满南看到样北，甚至他们是北瓦上地，东岸上这儿，你都老那没吧，养大吧。若不上求人波切，托巴萨。
All mother
中文
sentient beings,
于我生嗔之怨敌，害我
especially those
之魔
enemies who
障，
hate me,
及诸
obstructors
障
who
碍
harm me,
解脱，
and those who create
障碍成
obstacles
佛者，
on my path to
以
liberation
其
and
为
omniscience.
主，
May they experience
乃至
happiness,
等虚空一切慈母有情，愿皆具足安乐，
precious, unsurpassed,
远离痛苦，
perfectly complete
速
enlightenment.
得无上圆满正等珍贵菩提果。
当时没把查出来，这什么了？当时没把查出来，这个了，你得切的，他马上看到你们身体上这切的，这也切的，上马接着把的，另外一生，给完了个儿，马西把的，另外一生给完了个儿。就这人那种的，你马上打仗就把的，另外一生给我那个。
So Rinpoche said that.
所以仁波切
when
说
it is enough then when your aversion against this enemy goes away.
当
And so now
你的
next
嗔心
is
对仇敌
the
的
prayer
生
that
心
starts with
消
for
失
that
就足够
purpose.
了。
So for that purpose means for the purpose of all mother sentient beings. So please repeat.
所以
For
之
that
后，
purpose, until I attain Buddhahood,
是故
I will apply
愿我乃至成佛间，
to virtue.
身与意
Until death,
皆勤
I
于
will
善。
apply my body, speech, and mind
是故
to virtue.
愿我乃至成佛间，身与意皆勤于善。
I will apply
愿我
my body,
乃
speech,
至
and mind
尽形寿，身与意皆勤于善。愿我得自今日起，身与意皆勤于善。
等马西把的另外一种给完了个的呢，所以他给他忙过有的，一切没把过的吧，你两块重重的，你那个高个人是，你两块重重的这里，咱们家朋友从个全部那这里yok从个嘛里，就是女的那个另外一种另外有把这我个里，这两块的就是光那个女人唱的，这送嘛给错的对吧？小个搞的这美国讲破讲么不过的，你sempre两块就把唱的没那么呢，这里。两块的钱，这里没让我说进来，七八没送。这两块有的，两块个平价的的了，错了的两块的你把价钱有那这里，俺那是把送，出版本上的今年的这种嘛，你啥样吧不个，像刚当前的出版本都个有，这个送什么甚至多的什么，你今年是罗马你啥样都忙不个的，甚至当前的样的罗马节都个有。나를 우리 주면체 어때를 책기 요래 그런 거지 이식만 보고 주는 요래 사지 니주 주면체 대가리 사지 줘봐대 나중에 제대로 뭐 사야만 보고 되는 줘봐서 줘고요甚至좀 주면체 되는 라콘 진에서 사야만 보고 되는 제대로 많이 막가 제울로 되게 장미 받더니甚至당당히 안 받고甚至더 피도를 받게 되고요 나를 우리 주면체 som에 다른 다들做的这体系봐요 봐도 내体系然后有的这什么这个蛮把这个有嘞这다른 것도 되면 제들이 저기 사마다 희재지를 되게 또 받아가 요래 이렇게 시작도 되는 랑코랑 얘기 요래 이제들 이런 다방 토고 요래 랑코 총총도 싸움되면 잡아래 대회 나가지 때 같이 그 가르치는 것도 되게 요래 이렇게 제를 것도 손남 top 땅아질 고소를 피바를 대왕 정거리 이렇게 랑코 총총도 저 가사가로 쏟았어 고소 탑질라 피 이렇게 랑코 총총도 하자 표현치 뭐 사진이 주 주면체 나를 못 주면체 실질도 좀 주면체 송 그런 보지송 랑코 고음의 표현체 송 랑코 있어 욕들이 표현체를 싹 빠져리 들이 맛이 받을 마에서 개발 거서 그 terreno tutte ma santa tanto guarda il mai tu che va la cordina il giorno che sono tutto per le che parlano già per le da tanto della mondo la sono sam nella casa della da testi sai di mappa ma se ti portano mai da che con niente non è la sua parte cogore detto che 하자 소정 di parte tanto ti là due ore 하자 le la 다 친구래 돼
So we have said the first one, until attaining enlightenment, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue.
所以第一句是自自证得菩提前，身语意都行善。我们修持是无量心，然后禅修，在止观的禅定当中。所以这是一种承诺，直至证悟之前，我都要尽量的修持。只要你有时间，可能只是5分钟，你都修持，这是一种承诺。承诺尽量的来修持。之后呢，我会以身语意行善，直至这一生结束。所以行善有很多方法，有一种行善的方法是持续的修持，那就是我们转一个小的转经轮。那所以呢，我也一直在转经轮，因为它有无量的利益。因为大的转经轮你没有办法一直握在手中，那所以用小的转经轮。这里修持的要点是我们要持续的跟修持连接在一起，我们的身语意要一直在修持。所以如果你一直在用转经轮， 也就是你的身语意一直在修持。有时候你用这种手握的转经轮，除了这之外呢，还会带小的转经轮在我们的脖子上，这也是一种无上的保护。那有的人在往生的时候，他也会把转经轮放在头上。有这样的说法，当你死的时候，转经轮在头上就成为了破瓦。如果你一直跟转经轮在一起，也是帮助你觉悟梦的光明。所以有这样的说法，这是跟认知梦光明是无分别的。所以咒轮当中所积累的咒的数量，你会得到同样数量的咒语的利益。这咒语本身应观为本尊。如果你想对佛做供养，通过转经轮，你可以观想着从咒轮当中无量的度母等从咒轮当中放射出现，供养到佛前。所以为了利益三界一切的众生，特别是下三道的众生，你要观想观音度母，无量的观音度母从转经轮当中化现出来，然后利益一切的众生。还有莲花生大士曾经提到的一段话。在密续当中，本初关于本觉智的这样的一种密续当中有一段话，说到了咒曼的利益。咒曼变成永不停止的对佛的一种供养，所以你可以观想观音度母化现来供养诸佛，它也变成一种持续的净除众生的罪障。当你在手握转经轮，想着无量的观音度母来利益无量的众生，那同样的无量的观音度母也化现出来，帮助众生净除他的罪障，最后也成为一种持续的佛的悉地成就。当你在转经的时候，你会得到悉地，因为你在转的时候是保持正念。当你在用转经轮的时候，你必须专注，你必须保持正念才能够转经轮，因此你会得到佛的悉地的加持，然后升起慈心与悲心，保持正念，它能够去除一切的障碍，然后最后得到佛的成就。所以用转经轮或者是带小的转经轮在身上，这是一种方法。我也永远的用转经轮，因为这是因为经常大家都会学我所做的，因此呢，我必须做一些能够利益众生的事情。也可能因为这样呢，很多人开始会有很多工作坊，开始呢会做很多的转经轮，然后全世界很多的人也这样做。
So again, it is
那这样你会得到这种持续的佛的成就。
will bring an uninterrupted offerings to all the Buddhas, and it
所以
will
转经
purify
轮
all
它
sentient
会
obscurations
继续持续
uninterruptedly,
的
and it will
对佛的
give
供
you
养，
an
持续的净除众生的罪障，
uninterrupted attainment of
然后
six
给予你持续
accomplishments.
的
So
佛的
this
悉地的
was
成
spoken
就。
by Guru
那这
Rinpoche,
是
when
莲花生大师
he
所
taught
说的，
on the benefits of the mantra garlands,
是
the
他在
mantra
讲
circle the string.
咒曼的利益的时候所说
Therefore,
的。
I encourage everyone
所以
to
呢，
spin
我
a
鼓
prayer
励
wheel, to
各
spin a
位用
small
转经
prayer
轮，
wheel, so that you can
用小
always
的转
spin
经
it.
轮，
So
让
maybe
你
you
可
make a
以
commitment that until I
经
die,
常的
in
用。
terms of this prayer now coming back, until I die, I practice virtue with
所以
body,
直
speech, and
至
mind. So you could think
我
that
们
until I die, I will spin
死
a
亡之
prayer wheel.
前都要
That's
行
what
善。
is my commitment.
而行善的方
And
法呢，
second,
就是
that
用
was the second one.
其
And
中
then
的
the
方法
third
就是用
prayer
转经
said,
轮，这是我
from
的
now
承诺，
until
我
this
们这
time
样的去想。
tomorrow, I will practice virtue with body, speech,
然后
and
最
mind.
后呢，是从
And so
今
that
日直
refers
至
to
明
those
天，我们
virtues
都
that
会
you
都要
cannot
行善。
practice continuously. For example, you could take a one-day
那
vows.
所以，如果你
There
不
are
能
the
够
8
持续
Mahayana
的
vows
来
that we take when we
修持，那么我们可
when
以
we
领
practice
受
Nyungne
一
or
天的
Nyungne,
戒律，
those 1 or 2 day
或者是领
practices.
受
Or
八
it
关
can
斋
refer
戒
to
等
any
等
other practice, any other retreat, for
2
example,
天3天的戒
Munro,
律，
a preliminary retreat, and so forth.
还有
All
前
those
行、
practices
皈
that
依
you
等等，
can't do until you die. So you do
这
it
些
for
你
a
能
certain
做的，
period
在
of
死亡
time.
之前，我们尽量的
And also
去修
actually
持。
the sojong, which is the purifying and
还
restoring
有
practice,
八
is
关
also
斋戒，
included
它是一
in here.
种净
And
除
so actually,
跟帮我
this
们
is a
复戒的
very
方法，
easy way to
这
practice,
些都
and it is
是
very precious.
容易修持而且珍贵的修持法门。
And then the Bodhisattva Vow
然后菩萨戒
has an outer,
有
inner, and a secret
内外
aspect.
密
And so the outer
3个
is
层面，
the body, the inner
外
is
在
the
的是
speech,
身
and the secret is the
内
mind.
在的是
And
语，
so
秘
here
密
when we
是
said I
心。
will, until attaining enlightenment, I
所以
will
本本
practice
说，
virtue with body, speech, and
只
mind.
是证悟
So
之
that
前，身
means
口意
also to
行善，
think
所
that
指的
okay,
是
until attaining enlightenment, I will practice mindfulness.
我
I
在
will
证悟之
sustain
前都保
mindfulness
持
and I
正
will
念，
sustain immeasurable love.
然后在正
Or
念当中
immeasurable,
保持
that's
是
most
无量
important,
心，
immeasurable love. That
无
is
量
the
的慈悲
actual
心，这是最
Bodhisattva
重要
vow.
的，
And
这
you
就
need
是真
to
实的菩提
protect
心
or
界。
sustain your love with
所
patience.
以我们要用安忍来保持我们的慈悲心。
In English, I take refuge
中文的皈依戒文，大家一起念。
until I attain
乃至正的菩提藏，一切诸佛我皈依，
in the
如
Dharma
是我
and in
亦
the
皈
assembly
依法，
of the
以及
Bodhisattvas,
菩提萨
just
埵
as the
众，
Buddhas
如
of the
如往
past
昔，如
gave
如
rise
来
to，Bodhichitta,
云何发
and
起
progressed
菩提心？
along the Bodhisattva's
修
path.
学菩萨之
So
学
shall I
处，
give rise to Bodhicitta
彼皆均寻
for
善
the
安
benefit of
处。
all beings,
如是
and
为
practice
利
the
众
stages
生故，
of the
我亦
Bodhisattva's
发
path.
起菩提心。同理，亦于诸学处，
아 되게 just 탑 있는
既当次第而修学。
너희들 렉소지 탑 가리 산재 sem지 탑지 너희 좁아 탑 주통제리 되네 문에 산재 고막 토고 탑에 다 사족도 말이 그 산재 고막 토고 탑 산재 고막 탑 가리 다 상족생지 재미 봐 시합된 이제 냠도 요래지 돌아도 요래 변 세세만나네 와지 저쪽에 다토고요 말이 다때 탑지 세토지 출도 노도 지는더니 다세르지 노도 지는 삼티지 출 노도 지 됐으면 되지 심지 성질체도 봐 나중에 뭐야 돼 사족생 몸조당 사족생 순남에 봐 실. 이거 뭐 빼라 빼샤만 보더나 나그 항나 다 쫓고 요래 사지 탐친 거 항나 쫓고 요래 빼대다 그래들이 순남을 저지 재미가 원나 또 참아 돌아도 그래 나자도 차도 너무 봐 왕나 다지 돌아만 도들이 때 순남 탑 순남 돌아만 도 탑이 인소
So then next we come to the actual Bodhisattva vow.
所以我们之后到
Rinpoche will first say
菩提心的
Tapino,
正
which
行，
means
然后
this
他会
is the
说藏文
method.
tapino， 意思呢
And
就是
then
这
we
就是
respond to
法
that with
或者是方法。
Lexo, meaning
然后弟子们
excellent.
呢
So
要
what
回应
method
说
is that?
善哉，那藏文
The
是
Buddha
lexo。
taught the Dharma as a
那什么
method
是
to
佛法呢？
protect sentient
佛
beings
所说
from
的法就
suffering.
是为了佛说的法就是为了
That
保护
is
众生
Bodhichitta
所说的，
is the method
而菩提心
to
就是方
attain
法，
enlightenment. So if you
让
want
我
to
们
attain
证悟佛果
enlightenment,
的
that
方
is
法。
the method. So this is the method. And Bodhicitta stays within your mind
菩提心
as
让它
wisdom,
保留在我
compassion,
们的
and
心中，
unified. And so we
然后
develop it, but then also
也就是
we spoil it. So it
慈
is
悲
just
心
like
跟
it is
智
just
慧
like gold, like a golden chain. Now we can easily
但是我们很容易会损毁，
disconnect the chain.
就像是
It is
黄金
spoiled,
的
but then again
项
we
链
can,
一般，
we can put it back together.
金很容易被
And
损
so
毁的，
we
但
can
是
also restore
它也
it
很
again.
容易被
Or
修
as I
复，
mentioned before,
就像
it
之
is
前
like
提到的，
collecting love,
就好像我
like
们要
collecting gold flakes
收
all
集
over the
爱，
place. And in the
像
end,
我们要
when
收
you have
集各种
accumulated
的
them, you have this piece of
晶
gold.
片等等。
Just like that, when you always hold on to
当
love,
你永远
then
保
it
持
develops into
你的
bodhicitta. So when you hold
慈
on to
悲心，
love,
最后
you,
你会
for
发展成
example,
菩提心。
you dedicate your virtue for
那最后呢，
for them, not with a self-grasping
我们
mind.
要把积累
And
的
it also
功德
means to
向
really
众生回
develop,
向
to， cultivate it within your mind, to cultivate love.
所以这
And
也
also
是
it means to
往
recognize
内的
that
修持菩提心，
what we call
修起智
merit
慧
is
心。
love.
我们
So
说的
if
功
you
德，它就是慈
practice in
悲
this way
心。
and then also dedicate your love,
所
then
以
it is just like
让你
you're
的慈爱的
putting
心
all the money that you have earned into a bank.
积累呢，
So,
就
or for
像
example,
是
this is
回
like
向，就像
putting
是把
the money into the
你
bank
积
of
累
the
的钱
Buddhas,
放到
so
银
it
行
really stays
一般，
there safely.
这样
And
你的
so
功德、
what
你
we
的
do
爱心
normally
会
is
很
that
安
we
全
do。accumulate merit,
所以
we accumulate many different
平
causes
常
of
我
merit,
们
but
积
then
累了很多的功
we
德，
often just spoil it again.
但是我
It
们
becomes
经常
spoiled,
会
even though
毁
first we
坏
have
了
it
我
and
们
we
的
use it
功
again,
德，
because we spoil it by becoming controlled by
这
afflictive
是
emotions
因
such
为
as
我们
pride
被
and jealousy
烦
and
恼
so on. So
像是
this
嗔
is
恨、
the
嫉妒等等
method
所
for
控
your
制，
merit not to become
所
spoiled.
以回向是让我们的爱、慈爱的心
Like so.
所善哉，
아 되게 이제 코로 쓰는 거 좋다.
所以回向是让我们
사진 거 강한
的功德不会损毁，让我们的慈爱心不会损毁的方法。
아 멀리 돈이 아들이 좋고 요래 타마들까 탐지 영화에서 사서 되게 바 돈이는 줄로 요래 제가 요발에
So this is now you have received the method, and so now
那
it's
你
just
现在
like
得
now
到
you have
了
put all
佛
your
法方法，
money
所以你要把
into the bank
你所有的
of the
钱
Buddha,
存到
which is
佛的
all
银行
the
当中，
merits that you have
也就
accumulated
是
also
你
in
所
this
积
world,
累
in the
一
samsaric
切
world.
的
You put
功
them
德，
into the
在
Buddha's
世俗积
bank.
累的一切功
And
德
once
放到佛的
your
银
money
行
is。there, it will
一
not
一旦
become
你的
spoiled. You won't
你
lose
的
it
钱
again.
在佛的银
So,
行
in
就不
other
会失
words,
去，
having received this vow,
所以得到
now
了
your human existence
此
has
界，
become
你
meaningful.
的
With
人
Bodhichitta,
道的生
all
活
your
就变得具
activities of
义，
body, speech, and mind become
你
meaningful,
的身
become
口意一
fruitful.
切变得有益。
顶度大切，这不有，没意思吧？力巴托，得人上街，力所记，上街先生，大脚多。
English.
中
Now my
文
life
今
has
生
become fruitful,
无祸福，
having fortunately obtained
善得
a human
此
existence.
人身，
I have now taken birth
复生
in the lineage of the
佛
Buddhas
家族，
and have now become
今成
a Bodhisattva.
如来子。
那些人搞啊讲巴松，那他就同样来的，他们就是因为上出成为哪个的，你不他他不装。
So then that was rejoicing for oneself.
所以这
So now,
是
here
随
you
喜
rejoice that now my human
为自己随
birth
喜，
has become meaningful. Now I have found the
因为
method
人生
to
变
find
得具义
the
了，
jewel of Bodhichitta.
我找到了证得菩提心宝的方法。
他的大吉，这里讲，日当准备，来当的，用米准备，日的啦，肉板们就儿，别到啥。
Now whatever I do,
今后我所
I
为，
must engage in activities
宜服佛主
that
业，
accord with this lineage
趁莫染无耻，
in
无垢
actions
尊贵
that
种。
could tarnish this flawless noble lineage.
他的说那么当的，我他真是过来，他你咋个的？哪里说的嘛那里？东西是不是说的？多个的，多那讲的就让这些讲的吃的，这样的他妈打真的有嘞，你多大的他妈？哦，这那个谁的那个这那些的，就是没把那个真过来的。
And the way for you not to spoil your merit, your
所以
bodhicitta,
我们不
is to
毁坏
always
功
be
德菩提
mindful.
心的方
In
法
the
呢，就
37
是保持
bodhisattva
正念。
practices, the most
在
important
37
point is
颂佛子
summarized
行
in
当
verse
中
number 36, where it
提
says
到
then,
最重要的是第
in brief, whatever
36
you do,
的
you
第
should look at
36
the
段，
state of
就
the
是
mind.
不管一切
So,
所行，都要
everyone
观自
should
心。
always remember
我
continuously
们要
the
忆
meaning of this
记，要
verse.
记得这一句。
大吉得人，做把他姐姐，金刚若啊，这些一当呢，把这对了，弄得不是姐，那当上面，那说高尔去，金刚不嘛的。
So this is causing others to rejoice.
这
So
是
please repeat.
令他生
Today
喜。
in the presence
今于
of
护
all the
主前，
protectors, I have invited
严重
all beings
为上宾，
to worldly bliss until they attain
愿享成佛乐，
thus you gods and demigods
普愿皆
and all
欢
other
喜。
beings rejoice.
对啊，罗德些几单的，上街甚至你啊，干过了可以，那上就是不来的。上街了，上着甚至嘛都有嘛的， 마치고 받다더니 사제 삼사 심진담이 심진은 피바데 내가지고 사제 주변 초를 빼는 상부주 본랑을 쏘는 본랑 탐지를 다들 다들이 나라다 함이 사제 심진이야 가요래 사족sem나.
So the meaning of this verse was
是
that
这一段的意义呢，
Bodhichitta brings joy
是菩提
to
心
Buddhas and sentient beings.
为众
So
生
if you
跟佛
want
带来快
to
乐，
please the Buddhas and sentient beings,
所
you
以
need Bodhichitta.
为了
Because the
让
Buddhas
佛与众生欢
only
喜，
think about
就要
sentient
升起
beings.
菩提
Just
心，
like a mother
因为佛
loves
想到
her
的
only
只有众
child.
生，
And
就像是母
therefore,
亲
if
会
you
爱她的独
benefit
子。
sentient beings and make them happy,
那所以我
that
们
is
要
the
利益
best
众生
offering you could make
让
to the Buddhas.
众生快乐，这
That's
是
also
对
explained,
佛
for example, in the prayer
来说
for
最好的
excellent
供养。
conduct and many other prayers.
所以在
So
普贤行
here
愿
when
品
it
等等
says,
跟
"You
其他祈愿
gods
文
and
当中
demigod
也有
and
提
all
到，
beings rejoice,"
所以在
it
这里
really summarizes
愿
all beings,
天
the Buddhas and
与
all sentient beings.
非
When
天等
you
一切
give
的
rise to
众生都欢
Bodhichitta,
喜，
it
也就
brings
是
joy to all
升
the
起菩提
Buddhas and
心
to。all beings.
내가 이 뭐리 땅다 이 사축sem데 또 상보주변 뭐나 상보주 빠지바데 사축sem은 매지 쪼름 상보 차요 거를 빼대다 그래 이제 왕거들이 기본적인 뭐지들이 상주 같이 되는 거서 차지 좋고요 상보주변 뭐남다 하다 그지 뭐리 사축sem은 뭐 이즈가 내지 또 다시 내리 속을 하고요 그래지我早点就人家送茶了水的，阿哥们在的，让我就跟别人的，早点我人家开始我要的三六七的心了，今天这里让中国那的开始我要的，他的没人的，他这种没人这没人学因素。
So then after that are some words of dedication.
所以之后呢是
So
回向
Bodhichitta
的部
is
分。
also praised in the prayer for excellent
菩提
conduct.
心呢也是一
Where
部
it says
礼赞，
basically a person who possesses
所以
Bodhichitta will
拥有菩提
possess
心的人
excellent conduct.
就有殊胜的
And
功德。
also, Kampo-Tenzin Rinpoche
所以
explained
看破探见
that
仁波切
prayer
说，
already before give
但在
teachings
之前呢
on，that.
他也已经
And
解说了那一部分。
it would be good if you would study that and
所以如果你去
hear those
学
teachings.
习
Because
听
when
他
you
的
understand the
教
meaning
学
of
是
the
很好
prayer
的，
for excellent conduct,
因为他
then you
了
understand
了
the
知
quality
当
and
中的
importance of
的利益呢。
Bodhichitta. So now in the end, we
如果你
conclude
了知，
with
你就明
the
白菩提
dedication
心的
prayers.
利益。那所以现在我们做回向。
So then the dedication prayers we will not repeat, but we will recite together in the yellow prayer book. But it's
所以我们回向的部分呢，就一起来
starting
念，
on page
在黄色的那本法本小法本当中的。
but not all the dedication prayers. But it's not all the limits. Oh, he told you? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, in the yellow prayer book, on the bottom of page 17,
黄色的法本
by the virtues accumulated in the
17页
three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the intrinsic root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete.
以我及轮业一切众生30所及之功德根本，愿我及一切众生速证圆满无上菩提
On
宝。
page 30, Bodhichitta prayer. May Bodhichitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
菩提殊胜菩提心妙宝，为生起者愿生起，以生起者亦不退，其愿辗转更增上。
디를 놓고 줘래.
Yeah, so let me just read that rest. So may every bodhisattva succeed in their virtuous intent of benefiting sentient beings, and may every wish made by the protector come true for sentient beings. May beings never be separated from bodhicitta.
菩萨
May they
愿
dedicate
如意
themselves to
承
the
办
conduct of the
众生力
bodhisattvas. May
护
they be
主
fully
慈悲
embraced
念
by all the
有
Buddhas,
情
and may they reject
愿
the
悉
deeds
得
of Mara. In
不
all
离
rebirths,
菩
may
提
I
心
never be separated from
委
authentic
身菩
gurus.
提
May
行
I enjoy the
诸
glories
佛
of the
恒
Dharma,
提
and
息
having fully perfected the qualities of the
断
Buddhism
尽诸
path,
魔
may
业
I swiftly attain the state of
祈愿生
Vajrayana.
生不离
Whatever
善知
aspiration
识
prayers have been
恒
made
常
for the
受
sake of
用殊
sentient
胜
beings
之
from the
妙
great
法
ever-excellent
圆满
Vajradhara
一切
down to the
地
kind
道
root
之功
gurus,
德
may they all
树
be
正
swiftly
金刚种
accomplished.
持之
And by
果
the
位
virtues accumulated in the three
始
times
自
by
普
myself
贤
and all
如
beings in
来金
samsara
刚
and
持
nirvana, and by the
乃
intrinsic
自
root
具
of
恩
virtue,
根本
may I and
上
all
师
sentient
尊
beings quickly
为
attain
利众生
unsurpassed
所
perfect
发一
complete and
切愿
precious awakening.
迅
May
速
the
无
teachings
碍
of the great
圆
Bhikkhu
满
Bharatna
皆成
Stream,
就
Master of
以
Interdependence,
我
Omniscient
及
Lord of
轮列
Dharma,
一切
who has
众
seen
生
all knowable
三时
things,
所
be
及之
upheld
功
until
德
the
根
end of
本
cyclic
愿
existence
我及
through
一
study,
切众
practice,
生
hearing,
树
contemplation,
正
and
圆满无
meditation.
上菩提宝，所知普明遍至法王之缘起处中自在直供八人间八法教
we do offering mandala.
辩轮回，愿有讲修持守行首宣行之。所以我们现在做曼达的供养，曼达的供养。
Sudhgaya membarva, Zubhajaya membarva, Anarado membarva, Sava Siddha membaryanza, Sava Karma Sudha. Homa Bangave, Sava Dadangada, Benzamame, Benzabhavama, Samaya Sadova. First Tibet, second English. Page number 7.
梵本的第7页，首先藏文，然后是英文，跟中文一起。
Da le long juen do ba jin jie da pong kan jin jin da da yuan da ma ji zong be ngo bo jie de zhe gun ba jie da zhen ye wa sen jie lo ne da nge men da le yong de yan jin gan de ro bo da jie jie Ming Xin Lin De Ne Lo Men Zhan Yu Er Wei Jin Zan San Jie Do Ba Yu.
Page 7. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4
世
continents
周
and the wealth of infinite
宇
oceans
宙
of realms. If I bring
世
them
界
all to
资
mind
坛
and
城
offer them without exception,
广如大海
peaceful,
世界
compassion,
善福
all the
报
beings they
一切
contain,
无漏随
my
意
body,
妙供养
enjoyments, and whatever
祈
I
祷
own,
慈
my
爱
aggregates,
酷爱有
elements,
情
and
众
sense sources,
自身
my
享乐
aspirations
及
now
所
and
拥
in
有
times to
物
come, as
蕴
well as
界无根
everything I
现在
grasp
与
as
未来
mine. By
一切
offering
于
them all,
我
may I
我
be
执
blessed
诸
with the
实
end
物
of
祈
self-grasping,
愿加持
completely
寂灭
liberated
我
from the
执心
bounds of real and
有时
unreal,
无
transcending
时
the
无
names
边
and
解脱
concepts of
界
arising,
生
cessation,
灭
and
往
abiding,
来去
coming
常
and
与
going,
断灭
affirmation
超
and
越
denial.
名相
The supreme
本性
mandala
曼
is
达
the
供
natural state.
敬礼
By offering
愿
it,
正
may I be
至
blessed
尊
to attain
无
the
二
state
果。
of Buddhahood. Om
Om
Guru
Guru
Deva
Devata
Dakini
Kini
Ratna Mandala Prakticha Soha.
我一般的上课在一起，就是我那么弄么到别个我家中上班了。
So we will now begin.
So Rinpoche said, thank you
所以
everyone.
仁
I'm
波
so
切
happy
说
to
谢
see
谢
the
各
faces
位，
of all my Dharma
很高
friends
兴
today.
看到各位法友。
Now we will begin the birthday celebration, wishing His Eminence Garcia Rinpoche a happy birthday by all singing together. Happy
所以我们现在
birthday to
一起
you.
对仁波切唱生日歌。
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rinpoche. Happy birthday to you.
祝你的嘞！Thank you， Dankeschön， Shiva。刚完，就说那我参访这些的嘞，上周是这儿不就嘛，基本上基本上嘛没把也空的别玩哟。Thank you， 等下去搞就那嘛，就出去去。
Thank you for coming for my birthday.
所以感谢各位参加我的生日的仪式。
大力的妈妈爱呀讲，不能不能够的说。大力的妈妈爱呀讲啊，不能不能够的说。大力妈妈爱呀讲，不能够说。哎，我要唱个哦啊哦。啊，不能够说。
Next, we'll sing Garcia Rinpoche's long life prayer, first in Tibetan and then in English, the versified versions. So please join along.
所以之后我们会唱受仁波切的祈愿文。那首先是藏文，然后是英文。
Om so de manja de wa chen bo chu je ko manga na zo ran za lom jo zo me me nyen je de ga chu be ko me se ko zum da ni jo be jo Dekar so jo cha she do and no go pa sa du ji je ba je jo tu sam jar ve ya ye jian ko lo ji me che jian so Apeyana devashi no kam so sungar jire suju jeten gombo to se chudemba ardenda chiku se ka jarden con cho tên bê dê dơ đà về nhà cha đen thả lơ ngư bàn phá dư cha se se me pe sa zong pu mo jiong yin pen da wan ga jin xia ten su dao ge tang zhen jiao wei long la gu e zhong zhang zhong zhi bei guo jia gu 人在南苏江走人的灯，人的人们个金下电树，人的家庭呀这那个的，都知道都有记。 人们等别可见大地界，等百年满个金下定数，三那等别拉灭上生啦，日节把千就别个眉目。 红的灯着西间的都能，因我无所的在那里，早送都接点到当，马哈嘎拉去的主门徒。 大概当了门白灯在给，最近给没了接着帮助。
Next, we'll do the versified long life prayer in English.
接着会念英文的长寿祈请文。上帝，无有离乐大乐之法身，无着种种子的受容愿，无愿大悲喜无幻化身。 本三身救者果德，百莲中央圆满16字，小白秋月说是无巴拉，救度大难三世生者母。 无议论传奇，是无实说。圣经自出阿呀提婆音，土堂地区樱花嘎宗心，世界不心自确定吧。 具德噶千长寿诸百劫，三宝法教严实圆满愿，水岸深深高挂东三千，阳光一地护百莲。 利他明月噶千寿永固，以是名三托奉大众，一座值得山山是修海，三种等持坚固入深海。 了以明灯噶千寿永，于此着实将教衰为己，一如为利金刚境界心， 遍法教中，但我这人，教法须日噶千受拥护。具不假自上，师自善命。我中断障水无平时，然以水顺缘起自道理。如以宝足其情持心，三宝三本大悲真谛力。玛哈嘎拉法度母为力，我以精心愿望真实语，其情如云海自然成。
Everybody Sangha, thank you, long life.
Next, we have a birthday message from Drupan Searing in Germany, and he has written a letter that I am going to read for him. I and many students put a lot of effort into making this book. Like a flower in heart bloom, we are very happy to be able to offer this book to Rinpoche and his students today. It is very auspicious. Here is a brief introduction of the book called The Continuous Path to Enlightenment, Liberation Through Seeing, Hearing, and Experiencing. Enlightenment means Rinpoche is a living Buddha and Bodhisattva in human form.
菩萨是佛菩萨的化身，所以见到仁波切就是见解脱，听到仁波切的语呢，就是听闻解脱，所以跟着仁波切的口诀来修持呢，就会得到解脱。等等，它总共是有108页，所以也是祈愿仁波切可以在世出世108岁。书有三个部分，首先是传承，从佛到上师的传承。大乘、金刚乘、大手印等传承，还有仁波切的各个化身，他从历代的转世有介绍。第三部是噶千仁波切还有的历史，还有仁波切的上师相应法等等各种的修文，各种的，这是德国的弟子们所造的。
Garchen Rinpoche's enlightened activities are truly inconceivable. In honor of his 80th birthday, I made the book available in 3 languages. With the wish to benefit many beings, 3,000 copies of the first edition were printed. Rinpoche was very happy. He said in the future, when he is not in body, this book will be like a representation of him. In 2018, after some modifications, the second edition was printed. Today, I present the third edition that was printed in 2020. It includes refinements that were made according to special instructions from Rinpoche regarding particular photos and words. This latest edition has been made available mainly in English. However, this book will also be translated into Russian, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese in the future. Including all 3 editions, a total of 5,300 copies have been printed. Since October 2020 until today, all of the Garchen centers in Europe have made a united effort to practice White Tara together by rotating every day of the week.
中心
For example,
都努力的修持白度
Sunday
母的
Munich
法门。
Center, Monday Austria, Tuesday Sweden, Thursday
就礼拜一
Russia,
到五呢，
Friday Israel,
每一
Saturday
天
Ukraine,
都有
and Monday
不
through
同各地
Friday and
的
Sunday
中心都
Spain.
会修持白度母的法
Altogether,
门，
we have accumulated
总共积累
100
了
million White Tara mantras.
1亿次的
We
入母
dedicate
咒。
all the merit for
我们
Garchen
把受功
Rinpoche's
德
long,
回向
long
给
life.
仁波切的
May
长
his
寿，
activities spread far and
愿长波
wide like
仁波切
limitless space.
的事
May
业
all beings be free
可以
of
遍
every
及宇宙一
suffering,
切处，
illness, hunger, fighting, and war.
可以吸
And
食
may
一
all
切的痛
suffering be
苦、战争
pacified,
等等，
and
愿
may
一
all
切的
beings enjoy abundant
众生
happiness.
都有无比的
I,
快乐。
Drupal Searing, as the representative of all the Garchen centers in Europe, send Tashi Delays to Garchen Rinpoche on his 85th birthday.
所以这位弟子呢，代表欧洲一切的中心，向仁波切祝愿生日快乐。
On behalf of the worldwide Sangha, I am presenting offerings to Garchen Rinpoche for his birthday from all of you.
刚才仁波切也祝愿各位长寿。然后，这里是弟子代表各位呢，给仁波切献供。
哎呀呀呀！